If you're watching this, you're probably thinking, hey, that's not Jake, that's not Katie. And you'd be right. This is I'm Brian Masseri, and I am guest hosting for the show today. So just to make sure everybody can see me and hear me and all that good stuff. Maybe throw in the chat, where you're listening in from, just so I know it's everything is working, and we'll get started here in just a second. Awesome. NYC, Seattle, Utah. Let's see if we get any crazy ones in here. Let's see any international. Let's see San Mateo, Dallas, Richmond. All right, fantastic. Well, I'm glad you guys are able to hear me. Looks like we are live on LinkedIn, so we can let that go. All right, fantastic. Sacramento, fantastic. Thank you guys for doing that. I'm glad you're able to hear me. Like I said, my name is Brian Masseri, and let me get this off here. Okay. Hear me. There we go. So we can let that go. All right, 1 second. Fantastic. Thank you guys for doing that. I'm glad you're able to hear me. Like I said. Okay, sorry about that. The LinkedIn was playing in the background. I was hearing my own voice. Sorry. Okay, let me start over. So I'm Brian Masseri, and I'm really happy to be here. So I am the AI strategist over at Scaled. So if you have already subscribed and you get our prompts, for instance, you may have see prompts in our prompt library called AI Sales Prompt Pro. There's now, I think, probably 150 different sales prompts that I've built out in there. I'm the one that sends out the newsletter. So you might get a newsletter from me every single Monday where we're updating and telling you about the 5 prompts that we've put in there. So what we're going to be covering today is going to be just like normal when Jake and Katie are here, but I have a kind of a cool couple of different things to share with you. I have a really cool custom GPT that I'm going to show you that we built that all has to do with creating LinkedIn posts and how you can help yourself using like a tool like ChatGPT in order to create better LinkedIn, but let's just call them social posts. So we're going to be talking about that. I'll show you the custom GPT I built, but then I'll kind of tell you how you can kind of do a smaller version of yourself and why I think that could be super impactful. But, before we jump into that, I want to talk about, some newer things going on. So one of the new features, and I'm going to come back to mobile here at the end of the session here, but one of the new features that is actually kind of cool is actually on ChatGPT mobile. So I'm actually going to pull it up here on my phone, and what it is it's not crazy, but you now have the ability to press basically on an answer that you have inside mobile, and you can have it dictate basically back to you. You get to read it back to you. This is also starting to roll out on desktop, but it's on mobile right now. I see it sometimes on desktop, depending on what account I'm in, but it actually is kind of cool. So we're going to just test it out here. I'm going to hold it up to the camera so you can kind of see it. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play this part of it right here. So what I did, knowing that I was going to do this session today, I said, provide me a short 30-second script that explains how an LLM, so that's a language model, it's what ChatGPT is able to accurately guess the next best word. Make it fun and relatable. So I'm going to give you guys just an answer here real quick on what it says, and hopefully you can hear it through the mic. Let's see. Try it again.
Imagine you're at a party playing a game where you have to guess the next word your friend will say based on the conversation so far. You're using your past experiences and the context to make your best guess. That's kind of like what a large language model, or LLM, does. It's been trained on a massive amount of text, so when it's given a sentence, it uses its experience to predict the next word. Think of it as the ultimate party game champion, constantly learning from millions of conversations to make its next word guess incredibly accurate. So next time you're playing a word game, just remember, you've got a bit of LLM magic in you too.
Okay, so pretty cool, right? So what I like about it, what I'm hearing right off the bat is somebody who's just sort of always dealing with AI. If I didn't say it at the top, I co-host a weekday show. We're now at 157, 58 episodes called The Daily AI Show, and you can definitely check me out there. We do it live. We live stream it every day Eastern, or every weekday Eastern at 10 a.m. And what we're always talking about on that show is like, how good are the models getting at sounding natural, having a natural tone coming back to us? And I think ChatGPT is actually doing a pretty good job. They've had a model called Whisper that they've used for a while, but it's definitely getting better. It's definitely starting to sound more human-like. There's pauses where there should be pauses, and it's not just running through commas and end of sentences and things like that. So where would you use this in business? Because I mean, yeah, it's cool that it'll read back to you, but like, where could you use this in business? Well, I know I've written tons of prompts. I know that I have trained tons of people on, sending a video follow-up, whether you're using a Loom or a Vidyard, or you just want to send back information back to a client, during the sales cycle. And while you may not just copy this can give you a great way to sort of train and sort of hear how it would sound back. And it can really help you try to create your own script. So that's one way that I definitely use it. And again, at the end of the session here, I'm going to give you one of my kind of cool tips. And it's also going to be using the ChatGPT mobile app to it. So check it out if you haven't. When you do it, you just literally hold your finger over the text, and then it'll pop up a little subscreen that'll give you to say read aloud on it. I'm not sure if you can change the voices on there or not. Yeah, as you heard, mine is like a English speaking sort of American, a woman's accent. A lot of times you have a couple different options, and you may have some options in there as well. So kind of a cool thing to be using as Weber. Also, I can pull it up on the screen here, but one of the things that we know is coming, because ChatGPT has already talked to us about, and it's been in the news, is what they call memory. And essentially what this is right now when you use ChatGPT, in terms of memory, there's only a couple different ways that it will remember something over certain chats. Number one, if you go into your custom instructions, which if you've never done that, you can just click on your name in the bottom left corner of ChatGPT, and there'll be an option under settings or not even settings, it's just called custom instructions or customize there. They've changed the name of it. And you can put in some background information that basically gets appended to every time you run a ChatGPT query. So if you're just using ChatGPT and you wanted to know a little bit about your business, well, custom instructions have been around now for like probably 9 months, and it's just an easy way. You only get like 1,500 characters, but it's an easy way for you to go and give a little bit of a background. You can also say, hey, I like to get responses that are a little bit more formal or relaxed or whatever the case is. Okay, so that's basically what our choices are up till now. ChatGPT has put out an article, and they're rolling out and saying, hey, we're now going to introduce memory. And the way memory is going to work, I don't have access to it yet. They said they've sent it to a small subgroup. So I don't know, check your settings on your account and look to see if you have something that says personalization underneath your settings. If you do, you actually have this feature right now. So maybe a cool Easter egg, you might even have it and didn't realize it. What that means now is it's saying, hey, ChatGPT is, if you wanted to, you can turn it off, is going to remember things across different conversations. So they give an example of, if I had said that, oh, my daughter loves unicorns or something like that, and then down the road I'm like, I need to create a birthday card or a fun birthday poem, it might bring in that past knowledge in order to help me. So it's a cool idea. It's something that we don't have so far, and as far as business cases, it can be really impactful. Again, we'll have to go and play with it, because what it might enable us to do is really just do a better job than we can right now with custom instructions, to give us sort of a background of what we do with our company. So you can imagine things like your personas, trends in the industry, different various pain points, services, products you offer, all these kind of things that we deal with in sales. We might be able to put in there, and it'll remember it for us. And there's a whole article that goes into it even more, but just kind of a cool new feature. It's rolling out. Again, when we see it go wide and we have access to it, maybe on a, who knows, maybe in the next webinar that Jake and Katie do like 2 Wednesdays from now, they may in fact have it. If they do, they can show it to you guys. But keep an eye out. All you have to do is go down to your settings, again, bottom left corner of ChatGPT, and underneath the settings, you should see one of the options in there should say personalization. If you see that, then there's a good chance that you now have memory added to your account. So pretty cool stuff there. Okay. So those are some new features coming out. So before I sort of dive into our LinkedIn use case, meaning like how to use ChatGPT to write better LinkedIn posts, or really honestly, it could be other types of posts too, but we'll just use LinkedIn for today. Um, I'd like to just pause really quick. And if you want to throw it in the chat, it's kind of an AMA real quick. Like, what are you guys trying to currently do with ChatGPT, and maybe it's failing for you? And the reason I want to ask this question, you can put anything you want in the chat and I might be able to answer it for you. We often find that people are sort of dabbling and they use ChatGPT. Maybe you guys are only using it on the free side. Maybe you have the pro account. Definitely recommend that if you're able to swing it, or if you can get the company to pay for it, pay that $20 extra a month. It's well worth it for the tool. But a lot of times I find that people are left disappointed with ChatGPT because maybe the answer they put in there and they didn't get a great answer back. And they're like, I don't know, it's not that great. I'd rather just do it the way I'm doing it. And oftentimes it's just easy, it can be easy to dismiss it and move on to something else. So let's look at some of these. Targeted cold outreach within pharma industry. Okay, so totally. By the way, I have written tons of prompts like that. So I don't know if you have access to our AI Sales Prompt Pro, our prompt library. Becca could put those links in there. They'll be in here before the end of the session for sure. So I've definitely written ones that'll help you with targeted cold outreach. What you want to do when you're looking at something like that is the way I do it. I'll just give you my answer to it. And thank you, Janelle, for putting it in there. Is a lot of times what I'll do is I will write my prompt, okay, what I want to do in ChatGPT, but I'll write it in a way that it could be reusable. That's really at the sort of the epicenter of how I use ChatGPT. Is I think, okay, is this a one-off question, like what's the tallest building in the world? Sort of a Google-esque one-off question. And then there's the type of stuff that I'm going to use over and over and over again. So for that particular use case, like I want to do targeted cold outreach, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set myself up with a prompt that gives it some background information about my company, what I'm trying to accomplish. And then I'm going to say, I'm going to give you an industry. And if you can, even go deeper than pharma and go to a sub industry. So for instance, industry, automotive, sub industry, car dealerships, or repair shops. If you can get down to that sub industry level, you're really going to find better answers on ChatGPT, because it's able to dial in even more. We're getting really, really niche with what we're asking. And then what we want to do is just develop a prompt that we can use over and over so that you guys aren't having to go back and retell it every single time about what you do or what your company does. Now, if we're staying inside one chat thread, it will remember what you said about that. So what you can do is you can say, right now, I want to, for the pharma industry, maybe a sub industry. Maybe I'm targeting a different industry from pharma, whatever the case may be. And now I'm going to change that variable. So now I'm going to go to the next one and next one. But anything you put previously in that chat thread will be brought back into the conversation, if you will. So I hope that helps a little bit. Analyzing RPF documents and automating responses to RFPs. Yeah. So when you're analyzing documents, really the main thing is make sure you have the right types of documents. So sometimes PDF works, but here's the thing with PDFs. Sometimes a PDF is really just a glorified JPEG, aka picture, and sometimes it's a readable PDF. So if you're running into issues where you are like, I don't know, I don't understand why it won't tell me what's in this PDF. It could be that just the type that you have is more of the glorified JPEG and it's not readable. In other words, it's not working like a Word document. So some workarounds to that, if you are running into that, is to maybe re-download it or convert it into like a Word doc and then try it again. But yeah, anytime you're analyzing documents, just try to be really, really clear about what you're asking for from that document. Again, this is a universal truth with ChatGPT is if you are being broad, you kind of get broad sort of aloof answers. If you're able to stay niche, if you're able to be really detailed, give it the do's and don'ts. Do tell me this. Don't worry about that. And being really specific in your instructions in your prompt, you're going to end up getting better results from it. So again, I'm sure there's more to that, Judson, but thank you for the question. And let's see, help me wordsmith emails, write scripts for videos. Yeah, huge, Jennifer. Thanks for the question in there. Oh, the chat. Again, what I don't want to keep telling you guys, oh, like the AI Sales Prompt Pro, but the prompt library, I've written tons of prompts that are in that area with wordsmithing emails, being able to get scripts. I can think of a prompt right now that writes video scripts. And actually maybe this is a good segue into the main part of today's webinar, because I'm going to help you guys write better LinkedIn prompts. But the same concept that we're going to share today could also be used for writing better emails and stuff. So maybe that's a good place to jump in. And you said, I find ChatGPT responses to be overwritten, lots of redundancies. Yes, yes. And we're actually going to talk about that. So great call out on that. I find that too. But here's the thing. We're trying to use ChatGPT to get us from the blank to solve the blank page problem. In fact, our episode tomorrow on the Daily AI Show is about the blank page, meaning it's very hard to go from 0 to 5 miles an hour. It's much easier to go from 5 miles an hour to 60 miles an hour. And what we want to do is jump that gap. And so anywhere that we can use ChatGPT to get us started, even though in most cases that first result is not going to be good enough to just copy paste into an email or a LinkedIn post or whatever. The goal is that, like, well, how long would it have taken me if I just started with a blank page? And is this ultimately saving me time? So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. All right, what I'm going to do is share my screen here and talk about this sort of custom GPT that I built, and then we'll talk about it. I'll show you an example of how I use it, and then we can answer questions about it as well. So let me share my screen super quick. Okay, so this is the social media post generator. And this is, just to give you sort of a reference point, this is one of 10 different custom GPTs that we currently sell. I created them over the last month or so. They've been out in the wild now and being sold, and they're doing really well. But there's like 10 different custom GPTs, soon to be 15, because we're going to write 5 more, create 5 more for leadership. But this is one of them. Now, this is sort of what it looks like when you first get to it. I just want to show you guys kind of what it looks like. And the way I always build my custom GPTs, if you're building them on your own or something like that, is always like to have like help docs in there. So there's always like really 2 options. Like, hey, I'm ready to begin, but hey, I need help. And if you click on help, it's just going to basically read out some instructions for you to tell you how to use it. But in this case, we're just going to jump past that. And what I'm going to do is show you what this looks like. Let's reload it so it works. Okay, so this is one that I've already run on there. And so you can see I actually clicked that top, there was a button there and I clicked it, said, I'm ready to begin. And immediately it comes in, it's like, okay, let's start with step 1. And we want to identify some target audience for the topic. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to solve this blank page problem. And we want to come up with a topic for a new LinkedIn post. So when we're writing LinkedIn posts, really the goal here is to be as helpful as we can. There's a lot of different ways you can write LinkedIn posts, but I will tell you, as somebody who ran our LinkedIn strategy at Scaled for the last 2.5 years and still have clients that I run LinkedIn strategy for, the main 3 buckets, if you will, for a post are like entertain, educate, inspire. And you don't have to be in just one of those buckets. You might be in all 3 of those, in which case it's usually a really good post. I always come from the point of, okay, I have an idea, I have a concept, but I need help getting that into something that may look like a post. And that's really where this ChatGPT or ChatGPT can help. But this is a custom one that I built. But I'll show you how you can do sort of a poor man's version of this as well. If you don't have, if you don't end up buying our pack, or you don't happen to have this one. But in this case, I'm saying, look, I want to talk to sales managers in the financial services industry. So, and then it's saying, okay, like, do you have any topics in mind? You can see it asking up here, or would you like me to give you some suggestions? Well, in this particular case, I said, look, I already know what I want to talk about. But had I said I need some suggestions, this ChatGPT will come back, this custom GPT will come back and give me some topic ideas that I could talk on. Because let's be honest, one of the biggest hurdles that I always heard when I'm training teams or whole organizations about how to improve their personal LinkedIn strategy is, I don't know what to write about. And my answer a lot of times for sales was like, well, who did you just talk to on the phone? Who was the last person that you talked to? What did you talk about? What were their pain points or problems? Or what was somebody just like stressing about over in an email or whatever from a client? That's all content. Not to say use their names, obviously, but if somebody is worried or has a question about something, that's usually a great concept for how to create new content. So if you don't know where to start, it will give you some suggestions. And then you can say, hey, I like option number 4. Let's move on from that. And then as you see, as it goes down, it's like, okay, I said, okay, I want to do that. And I was like, I have an idea. And it's like, great, share your idea with me. And then what you're seeing here, and this is the secret sauce, guys, all the way down to here. This is actually a transcript. Okay. So how did this happen? Well, what I find is if you happen to use Slack, although Teams might have it too, nowadays transcripts are like sort of come automatic. And here's a quick tip for you guys. If you're in Slack, just go to your own your own private channel, right? You're the one that's like just your name or whatever. And you can actually just on your desktop, probably on your phone too, you can just hit record and you can literally just start talking. When you're done, it will automatically give you a transcript. Now, let's pause really quick and talk about why this is the right way to use ChatGPT in order to create LinkedIn posts. I have found over and over and over again that what ends up happening, Teams also automatic transcripts when you record. Perfect. Okay, so it works in Teams or Slack. All right, so 99% of you guys are going to have a tool that will do transcriptions for you. You could, by the way, upload it as a file. So let's say you recorded it on your phone. You could upload that as like a TXT file. In my case, I just literally copy and paste what I just said and put it in. Here's the problem. I have trained CEOs and of major corporations with their LinkedIn training, and I've done ghostwriting for them and all the things on LinkedIn. But what I will tell you is people edit themselves when they get to the keyboard. So you have a great idea. You're like, I think I want to write a post about XYZ. And you're like, okay, let me start writing about XYZ. And the problem is we all will edit ourselves when we are writing through a keyboard and putting words down. We'll say, no, 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 not that word. I meant to say it this way. The problem with that is your self-editing, it's kind of affecting the authenticity of the future post. So what I would say is this way is not only faster for you because all you need to do is just talk, but it's also going to give you a better post at the end of the other end of it. So if you've even read any of this on the screen right now, you will see that I'm just talking. That's just like whatever, a minute and 32 of me talking out loud about in this particular case, custom GPTs, and how they can be really helpful for sales managers. Just talking out loud. Then I take that transcript and then I basically give it back and I say, okay, that's my topic. And then what this custom GPT does is it comes back with this. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, this is like a 60%. I'll give this a D LinkedIn post. I could copy and paste this right into LinkedIn and it would be better than nothing, but I would not really give it a passing grade. So here's something really important with ChatGPT. It's just important, or any LLM at this point. You really got to keep putting yourself, meaning you, like the human, back in the loop. And be okay with the fact that this is not going to be good enough, but probably with 5, max 10 minutes of my time, I can get this buttoned up. It's probably more than I need. Frankly, I probably only want a post that's about 150 words or thereabouts. By the way, you don't feel like you always have to write 150 word posts. It's just that's a good average to start with. It's long enough that it's not a Twitter or a tweet, but it's short enough that it's easily consumable by your target audience. And remember, we're asking of our audience to spend time with us, to take time to read this post. So doing super long ones sometimes can affect how well that post does. So look, there's some really good stuff in here. The best part about this is essentially what I said, but it's just making it feel a little bit better. Now, I might say this. Ever feel like sales teams is running on a marathon? Ever feel like your sales team is running a marathon on a treadmill? That's a good visual. I might actually start with that online. It's not bad. Constantly moving but not getting anywhere. The secret to breaking the cycle might just be nestled with it. Okay, I probably wouldn't say nestled. You see what I'm getting at? I'm going to go into this post and I'm going to be like, okay, not all of it is great, but a lot of it is. A lot of it is a lot better than I could have started from a blank page. And all it required me to do was a minute and a half up front, maybe another 5 minutes here, because I'm probably going to copy paste this, delete some stuff out, simplify some stuff, and I'm going to send it on, as long as I'm happy with it, I'm going to send it on LinkedIn to post. I will tell you guys from years of teaching and leading our LinkedIn strategy, and now coincidentally being the AI strategist, so kind of like sitting in that perfect seat between the two of them, I will tell you that doing transcripts or just voice recordings of yourself and then taking the transcript is really one of the fastest, most efficient ways for you guys to use a tool like ChatGPT to create highly, authentic posts into for LinkedIn or some other social media posts if you want to. But this really helps you guys get over that initial big gap, which is I don't know what to talk about. Okay, this will give you suggestions. And I feel like it's going to take me forever to really craft this post because I'm going to edit. I'm going to edit. I don't really know what to say. And so this custom GPT will kind of help solve for that. Now, if you're not using this custom GPT, you could still do basically the same thing. Still go to Slack, still go to Teams and record yourself. I'm still going to say that's the best way to do it. And then you could go right into ChatGPT, paste that in, and then right above it or right below it in your chat, just simply say something like, hey, help me write a LinkedIn post. Don't be cheesy. Don't be salesy. This is the kind of tone I want to use. And you can just simply use that. And it's still going to give you a okay response. Something that's more customized like this custom GPT is going to be better right out of the gate, but that's not to say you couldn't just write a prompt that will get you there. But always start with that transcript. That's really the secret sauce. I promise you, if you're not on LinkedIn, if you're not really thinking about, your personal branding or whatever, we have worked with so many sales teams of varying roles and stuff like that. This is by far having a solid LinkedIn strategy is by far one of the fastest ways to increase ROI because you're starting to get out there. You're answering questions that your target audience wants to hear. And it just starts to establish you as a subject matter expert. And once your audience sees you as that, yeah, they may not come to you today, but they'll reach out to you and, whenever the time is right for them. And all those posts, even if nobody's like necessarily looking at them at today, all those posts stay inside of LinkedIn. Anybody can go and look at them in your feed. So now you're sort of creating this like library of subject matter expertise about what you know. I have had many clients as well as myself, definitely Jake, I am sure KD, where people have been like, hey, I've been reading your content for the last 6 months. I'm ready to move. That's it. That's the sales cycle. Like they're ready to go right now. We close those deals within days sometimes because they're already convinced that, Scaled or Jake or KD or whatever has the right solutions for them because they've been reading all of their content. So I hope that helps in there. Let me stop sharing my screen here. And I'll put it out there to the comments. Are any questions about that? Anything you feel like I didn't cover as far as like either how to do this on your own, or of course, you can get access to our custom GPTs if you just want us to do it for you. And by the way, you don't just get this one. If you do our AE package, you get 10 of them and it costs you $75. So, it's a steal in terms of having efficiency tools like this. Hopefully you guys feel that way. Okay. Let me know if you have questions. I know we said we can do transcripts. And if not, what I'll do is I want to kind of finish up with another sort of, okay, here's a question. What does your custom GPT do exactly? In this case, that's exactly what the custom GPT does. So basically a custom GPT, just for a real quick explanation, that's a feature that everybody has access to in there. If you have a pro account, if you're paying for ChatGPT Pro, the paid version, or it's called Plus, the $20 a month or whatever, you have the ability to create your own custom GPTs. That's bigger than what we can get into on this particular call. But in this particular case, I have created a custom GPT that has instructions in it that is specific, like I told you, stay niche, to creating LinkedIn posts. So it's very narrow in focus. It's its only job. And so it does a better result for you because it's narrow in focus. Can you pay to get access to the social media app you are using? Yeah, you can. And Becca's, I think, put the links in the comments, but she'll do it again and I can share them as well. In fact, I can share it. I'll just share you the page right now. One sec. So if you want to see, yep, she just did it. Becca just did it. So if you want to see all 10 of the custom GPTs that I have built, and again, it's going to move up to 15 here pretty soon. You can go to that link that Becca just put in there and it'll show you all of them. One of those was the one I just showed you, was the custom GPT one. But guys, we have ones that are people are falling over themselves for, like the discovery call bot, the demo call prep bot, the meeting summarizer is the huge one. We use the meeting summarizer custom GPT like 7 times a day internally at Scaled. Our team loves it and uses it all the time. The perfect value prop builder with Jake and Katie have demoed in the past. That one's a huge love as well. So yeah, go to that link if you want to learn more about those. And you can kind of see what we're building out at Scaled. Here's sort of the way it works too. I'll just kind of give you guys the quick overview, and then I'll give you my one tip and get you guys out of here. Is you have your prompts, right? So the first thing we did at Scaled is I built this prompt library because we were saying, look, we don't really like the content that's out there. We feel like it's all low-hanging fruit. You guys have seen it. You can go Google great prompts for sales, and you're going to see like 3-word prompts and you don't know if they work. And they're just like, oh man, that's like kind of disappointing. Honestly, I think it does more harm than good because it makes you think, oh, ChatGPT isn't that smart. Obviously, that's not the case. So what we're doing, what we said is like, we want to build prompts that are really helpful. And now that's grown to almost 150 different prompts that we have. So you have prompts. Then if you think about a smarter, more advanced prompt would be like a custom GPT. It's more detailed, it's more focused, it has knowledge documents behind it, so it's smarter, and it's really focused on solving one problem over and over, like writing posts or getting ready for a meeting or doing cold call role playing, whatever it is. And then the next level, and we have a few clients that we do this for, is we customize these ChatGPTs, these custom GPTs to that client. So you can kind of see the evolution, right? You can like, there's the prompt library, which is fantastic. We have tons of people that are doing that, and you can buy that today and get access to the community. Then you have the custom GPTs, which you can also buy. And then we have clients who are like, hey, we love this, but can you go ahead and make this highly customized to our actual company? And then we can go ahead and do customized sort of one-off type solutions for them on that. So just to give you an idea. Okay. Hey Brian, would this be good for someone transitioning to an SDRB to a role? Yes. I know you've said a lot. Yeah, no, SDRB. In fact, 5 of these are really more focused on SDRs. Lots of people are buying that AE package because it's only $25 more and you get 10, you get all 10 custom GPTs. But absolutely, Scott, if you're transitioning a role, I know Jake would say this too. You know, Jake was a SDR back in the day. In fact, I'm sure he's told you guys this, but his first role was where I live down in Tampa, and he worked for the Tampa Bay Rays, probably the Devil Rays at that time. And so, he's sat, I'm sure KD has too, sat in all the different seats. And I talk to Jake about this all the time because I'm not necessarily from sales. Jake is, right? And I'm like, Jake, how would this help? And he's like, Brian, if I had these tools, he said, no brainers. This would have helped me so much get up to speed, get ready for calls, prep for a call in 5 minutes instead of 30, be ready and know what that other client's business does, which so much of us, we want that, but who has the time to do it when you're trying to move from call to call? So just yes, was the answer to all that. Okay. Last thing, and I'll let you guys go so we don't go too far over time. Thank you, by the way, for all the different topics and questions in here. This has been fantastic. All right, here's my other tip and trick. I'm going to go back to mobile. And it's not even something I necessarily have to show you, but I'm going to go and open that back up the ChatGPT mobile app. And what I like to do is I told you at the beginning that one of the new features is you can press and hold and it will speak back to you. But what you might not know is that I'm just going to open up a new window and kind of show it to you. I'm going to point to it. Okay, this is just a new window on ChatGPT. And right there in the bottom, there's a pair of headphones. If I press that pair of headphones, what you're essentially doing is turning ChatGPT into a back and forth natural language assistant, if you will. What it enables me to do is it listens to what I'm saying, again, in natural language, and then it provides a response in one of the voices that you've selected. And then it waits for me to say the follow-up, and then it gives me an answer. And it waits for me to respond back. And it's a very, natural type conversation. Here's my tip, because I really love doing this. I think we all could say we'd like to get away from the desk for a little bit. Maybe you guys move around your house a lot. I have an office at home, and so I'm usually right here, right at this desk, staring into this camera, looking at this monitor. But that's not always where I'm going to be the most effective at brainstorming, and not the repetitive tasks, but when I need to think big, when I need to work through a problem. And so what I love to do, and this is my tip for you guys, is I will use the app, go use that feature, hit the little headphones icon, and I will just brainstorm and do laps around my kitchen island. And I'll just talk about this and talk about that. And we'll go back and forth until I feel like I've sort of talked through my different ideas. And then what's great about that is not only will I've gotten responses from ChatGPT in the moment, but all of that context, that content window is saved and ready for me when I come back to my desktop. So I can walk away, have a great sort of open-ended, natural conversation, again, away from the keyboard where I can just pontificate and I can just, it doesn't matter if I pause. It doesn't matter if I say, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just brainstorming. And ChatGPT will wait and come back to me and then take all that transcript. So then what I could do is come back to my desktop and say, hey, could you give me a summary of this whole conversation? Boom. Now you got notes. Hey, could you make an outline for this conversation for my next steps? Boom. Now you got an outline you can move forward from it. So that's my tip for you guys. If you haven't tested it out, if you've never downloaded the app, 2 reasons why you should today. But it's a really cool feature. And I think go try it. Go try it. I think you guys are actually really, really going to like it. So, okay. Just to talking on the walk. Yeah, I love it. Love it. I do a lap around the block. Exactly. Scott, yeah, thanks. No problem at all. I haven't landed a role. Hey, best of luck to you, Scott. I'm sure you're going to do great. Transitioning from medical to tech. Well, look, listen, if you're in medical, you're gonna do fantastic moving into sales, because you're already ready for fast-paced environments. So best of luck to you, Scott. Let us know how we can help you in that. All right, that's all I got for you guys today. Becca has put all the different links in there. Don't forget, by the way, I want to give a quick plug to Jake. Jake's new book, The Innovative Seller, is coming out on April 9th, but you can pre-order it now. And you can do that. I'm going to put the link in real quick. This is Jake's book coming out. Jake is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to sales. Scott or anybody else, trying to get better, trying to level up in sales. I highly recommend going and checking out that book. If you go to that link that I just dropped, you can pre-order it from a couple different places. I got mine from Amazon, but you can go to a couple different sites and it'll be delivered to you for April 9th. So that's it, guys. Hope that was helpful. And quick bump on this question. Doug, go ahead. If you got a question real quick, I'll make sure I answer it. Maybe I missed it. Did I miss your question, Doug? Oh, I did. I've already subscribed to the AI Sales Prompt Pro, which I definitely recommend to others. Thank you. Are the prompts we discussed today to generate LinkedIn content already included in Notion content? Okay, great question, Doug. I'll answer that really question. Yes, I do have prompts in AI Sales Prompt Pro. That's the prompt library, the sales prompt library that Doug is talking about for creating LinkedIn content. Yes, I do have one in there that refers to doing transcripts. But no, it's not the same thing as having the custom GPTs. That is different. That's a different product because they're just bigger, they're more customized, and so they're not included in the prompt library. But I absolutely do have tons of prompts in there about writing really good content. So that's what's in there, and there are ones about LinkedIn for sure. Okay, I think that's it. Great reminders. Let's see. Key takeaways. Okay, fantastic. All right, that's it, guys. Thanks for letting me hang out with you today. Come check me out on the Daily AI Show. Come reach out, send me an email over at ai@skaled.com, and I'll respond back to you if you have any future questions that I didn't get to on this one. And Jake and KD will be back next 2 Wednesdays from now to take care of the webinar. But I had fun guest hosting, and hopefully I'll see you guys again soon. Till then, bye.